and our 2025 recap. It's been another fun year in the birdhouse. Glad to have you aboard all season, and we're just doing a thank you here and doing a rundown of some of the players who were the best performers of the season, plus some of the low performances. But we're going to try and head out on a high note here for the 2025 season. Looking forward to a fun 2026 year in the birdhouse. We've also got a couple of shows going on with the Dynasty Rewind, so be sure to subscribe over there on the Dynasty Rewind, but keep checking back. We'll be doing at least a video a week here on the Birdhouse Dynasty show in the off season, so stay tuned for those as well. But now to the top performers of the 2025 season. We're going to get things started off with none other than Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers. There I am. All right, let's do it this way. Okay, so McCaffrey was picked in the first round of most redraft formats. In dynasty leagues, he's always a player who drops in value due to his age in the off season, so you can try and acquire him for cheap if you want. I don't know that anybody sells him. Well, there are some sales for cheap, so check those out in the off season coming up. But McCaffrey was nothing but phenomenal this season. As you can see here, super consistent all season long. He finished the season off strong too, with 33 points in week 17, 35 in week 16, 16 points in week 15. So strong performance in the postseason for us Dynasty players. As you can see here, if you go down, he was the number one player at running back, number 2 overall in Dynasty, so in Superflex formats, over 1,100 yards rushing on 303 rushing attempts, 10 rushing touchdowns. Then his receiving numbers, as we've come to expect from CMC, 96 catches for 890 yards and 7 touchdowns. Hell, he would have been a top 15 at least wide receiver just with those receiving numbers alone. So just another insane performance from Christian McCaffrey. And what more can I say? Go out and acquire him if you can. If you're planning on contending next season, there's no better piece you could go out and get your hands on. Now, he is 29 years old. Will turn 30 next season. And so, yes, while that may be something that scares some off, I am not one who's scared. I've gone out and got him wherever I can on my contending teams. Next up, we want to head into the quarterback position, and the biggest riser, that would be Drake May. Now, May started off the year value-wise. He was somewhere in that mix with the 2024 rookie class quarterbacks. You had Caleb Williams, of course, who was picked ahead of him, Jaden Daniels also in the mix there. And so Drake May, though, definitely outperformed both of those cats, and he finished quarterback 2 and number 3 overall in Superflex formats. He was nothing but a stud down the stretch, giving you 33, 25, and 21 points in the playoffs. Drake May could be the number 1 overall pick in some of your startups this coming season. He didn't have a number 1 target per se. Stephon Diggs definitely got the most targets. Hunter Henry vied for that position as well during the season, but he loved to spread it around, and that's what makes him so special, along with his running ability. He's just basically a Josh Allen light. He's not quite as big as Allen at 6'4", 225. He's a little bit less. I think Allen's about 250. So, he's a little smaller than Allen, but very similar in the style that he plays. And being 6 or 7 years younger than Josh Allen, that's why some people will choose to take him over Allen in our upcoming startups. It's hard to argue against it. But I think Allen will still go number 1 overall in most startups. It'll be between him and Lamar Jackson for a lot of people, whether they go May or Lamar Jackson in their upcoming startups. Next up, we want to stay in the quarterback position, and we're going to head over to a veteran, and that's Matthew Stafford. Stafford finished quarterback 3 and number 5 overall. 4 Superflex formats. Stafford, just a monster season. Didn't finish off well with that stinker on Monday night, so hurt a few people there in championship games, but had 31 points the week before, 21 points in week 15. And Stafford vying for that MVP season. This is just, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, because we all knew the talent that Stafford had. But with Devontae Adams coming aboard, who's been hurt the last few weeks, kind of hindered him in that last week. But, you can see the jump here from 2023 being 15th overall at quarterback, 2024 being 19th overall at quarterback. Now, this year, jumping up to QB3, throwing for almost 4,500 yards and 42 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. This was just a masterful performance from one of the greats, sure to be a Hall of Famer now with that Super Bowl on his resume. We can see if he adds an MVP to that resume. It'll probably come down to Stafford or May. Now, somebody noted that a quarterback hadn't won the MVP in years without being either a 1 or a 2 seed, which May is looking to wrap up this weekend. But we'll see if Stafford can pull it off anyway without being a 1 or 2 seed, because the Rams are stuck being either the 5 or the 6 seed in the NFC. Now to his teammate, and that's Puka Nacua, the wide receiver 1 overall. Puka, another monster performance this season. Had what was that high week? Let's see here. Go back. Here it was, 51-point performance 2 weeks ago in week 16 with 12 catches for 225 and 2 touchdowns at Seattle. That was the crown jewel of Puka's season. He finishes the season with 119 catches for 1,600 yards and 9 touchdowns. Wide receiver 1 there, and sure to be either the first or second, at least, wide receiver off the board in upcoming startups. Maybe third. I guess you could throw Chase into the mix with JSN, who we'll talk about later. But Puka definitely proving his worth this season. Next, we want to head over to the tight end position, and Trey McBride with his record-setting performance this year. Definitely came through in the championship week with 25 points. Now, he had laid a dud the week before with only 7, but had 42 against Houston in week 15. So he had a couple of good performances in the playoffs. Finished tight end overall number 1 with 119 catches, 1,174 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett did not disappoint. He was feeding the big man all season long, and Trey McBride now, I believe, is your Dynasty tight end number 1, surpassing Brock Bowers, who had an injury-riddled season. Now in the upcoming startups, I could see some people still maybe taking Bowers over McBride. But for my money, I'm taking McBride overall, number 1 at tight end for you. Now we want to head into some of the upstarts this season. We're going to head into the rookies and some of the best rookie performances that we had this year. And we're going to start off with Jackson Dart at the quarterback position. Dart finishes quarterback 16. Had a few injury weeks along with missing the first 3 weeks of action because he was behind the veteran Russell Wilson. But finishing quarterback 16, his rushing totals definitely helped that, as he had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rushing touchdowns, 455 yards on the ground. Just over 2,000 yards passing with 13 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Looking forward to the 2026 season. Dart will have a new regime in place. We'll see who that is. But I can't think of a better situation to join in the upcoming season if you are looking for a good position with a good quarterback. Nice stable at wide receiver with Neighbors coming back, Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson. You've got a couple good running backs in Cam Scattaboo and Tyron Tracy. So the Giants needle definitely looking up. Right now they're penciled in as the 102 pick. We'll see how that unfolds after this weekend's action. But Jackson Dart, definitely the top rookie quarterback, in my opinion. Tyler Shook came on late, but I don't think he had quite the body of work that Dart had over the course of the entire season. So I'm going to go with Dart as my top rookie quarterback. Definitely outplaying Cam Ward, who was picked number 1 overall. Now we want to go to the rookie running backs, and it was really hard to say that any one rookie running back separated themselves from the pack, as they all had their ups and downs. We'll start with the first rookie running back picked, and that was Ashton Jeanty. He came through for those of you who had him in your lineups in week 16, the semifinals against Houston. He had 38 points, rushing for 128 yards, catching a 60-yard touchdown, 2 touchdowns, both over 50 yards for you, finishing as running back 14 on the season. Now, he finished the year with only 888 yards rushing and a 3.7 yards per carry, just 5 rushing touchdowns, 5 receiving touchdowns, though, 52 catches, 339 yards on a receiving end. So he finished, with just about 1,200 yards total. And so still a solid performance for Jeanty, even though the numbers were somewhat disappointing in that his yards per carry were bad. Now, I think a lot of us kind of expected that with him going to the Raiders, and that was the only downside to Jeanty. But I think things can only get better here for the Raiders. They're going to have the number 1 pick. We'll see what they decide to do with that. If they go quarterback and then hopefully bring in some offensive line help, that will definitely help Jeanty going forward. Next up, we'll talk Travion Henderson. Henderson here was super explosive, especially in weeks 10 and 11, then exploded against Buffalo in week 15, first round of the playoffs, 14 carries, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns there in the first round of the fantasy playoffs. So Travion Henderson definitely coming through there in week 1 of the playoffs for you. Henderson showed his explosiveness, why he was taken in the second round, finished running back 20 overall. And so big things coming forward for Travion Henderson. We know that Ramondre Stevenson's in the backfield there, but we now know that Henderson is definitely the best option of the two, along with Drake May. There's great things going forward for the Patriots offense. And another rookie running back, Omarion Hampton. Big season here. Finished 32 overall at running back. He was injured for 7 weeks during the season, and it was unfortunate because he had 2 big games prior to the injury. He had a 26-point game and 31-point game. The bounce back in the playoffs, showing up for you with 17 and 16 points in the second and third rounds of your fantasy playoffs. As I said, Hampton finished 32 overall with 545 yards, 4 touchdowns, 32 catches, 192 yards, and a touchdown. So in just half a season, you can see here, he would have gone over 1,000 yards with another 300-400 yards receiving. So monster year. I think that Hampton has the best upside going forward of the 3 that I just talked about. There's one other running back I want to mention, not forget about, and that's RJ Harvey, who was the best of the bunch down the stretch, scoring touchdowns in 4 out of the last 5 weeks of the season. 5 touchdowns total. Rushing wise, I added another couple receiving. He finished the season with 12 touchdowns total on the year, just 512 yards rushing, 351 yards receiving, though. So going forward, it'll be interesting to see what Denver decides to do if they bring back J.K. Dobbins. He's got a torn Achilles, so it's going to be rough sledding in the offseason here for Dobbins to see where he may land. But as for the Broncos, we'll see if they decide to draft another running back, re-sign Dobbins, or just roll with Harvey and McLaurin and Tyler Beatty. If that's the case, it's wheels up for Harvey. So for all of you Harvey owners out there, finishing RB 19 on the season as a rookie, very solid start to Harvey's career. Only downside with Harvey, he's already age 24, so it's hard to say if he will try and play, obviously, but we'll see where he's at the end of his rookie contract. But going into year 2, got to be excited about RJ Harvey. Next, we'll hit up the rookie wide receiver class and start things off with the top one of the bunch, drafted as the first wide receiver off the board, Ted McMillan. Tetaroa, age 22, finished wide receiver 14 on the year with 66 catches, 929 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Laid a dud in the fantasy championship week, but prior to that, week 16 against Tampa, put up 6 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. He was definitely more consistent than his rookie counterpart, Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka started off hot. He was definitely the top rookie wide receiver in the first month of the season. But after week 5, Egbuka only put up 2 double-digit weeks, just 1 touchdown, 1 100-yard game. So from week 6 on, it was rough sledding for the rookie. That leads to a very polarizing offseason here for Egbuka. Lots of questions to answer here in Tampa with Mike Evans, whether he'll return or retire. Chris Godwin will be another year older, so we'll see if Egbuka can actually take over the number 1 role in Tampa or not. That's a huge question for us all to answer, and I'm sure we'll discuss at length all off season. Moving on to the tight end position, we've got Harold Fannin as my top tight end for the rookies. He finished tight end number 5 with 72 catches for 731 yards and 6 touchdowns. Definitely had a good rapport with Shedeur Sanders as he finished the season with 4 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks of the year. Had a 100-yard game against Tennessee. You can see the target share definitely there. Now, he left the last game with that groin injury, re-aggravating it. but nothing but wheels up here for Harold Fannin. I think that Shedeur Sanders definitely surpassed my expectations, and it does look like he could and probably should be the guy leading the Browns going forward. We'll see what the Browns decide to do, whether they bring back Stefanski or can him. Who knows what the Browns want to do. I'm not gambling on any of what the Browns decide to do here. But Harold Fannin, I would say he's definitely a top 5 dynasty tight end now. And so going forward, I would think we just have McBride and Bowers ahead of Fannin. I'd rank Fannin slightly ahead of Tyler Warren, his rookie counterpart at tight end. Next, we want to hit up the all-star, Josh Allen, number 1 super flex player overall, just outscored Christian McCaffrey. Depending on your format, maybe McCaffrey outscored him. But QB1 overall, Josh Allen here, over 3,600 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, 579 yards, and 14 touchdowns on the ground. Josh Allen just doing Josh Allen things. Came through with 23 points in the championship week, had only 7.9 points in the semifinals, but 26 points in week 15, 41 points against the Bengals in week 14. So Josh Allen, I don't think there's anything to worry about here going forward. He's going to continue to run the ball. You can see here his rushing totals, 15 touchdowns in 23, 12 last year, and now 14 this season. I don't see any reason to be worried about that. He will turn 30, but the quarterback position, you can play much longer than the other positions, as we all know. Now I want to hit up one of the more polarizing players going into the offseason. We've got a couple of free agents, starting with George Pickens of the Dallas Cowboys. Pickens had a monster season alongside CeeDee Lamb, with Dak Prescott slinging out of the ball, finishing wide receiver 4, far surpassing anybody's expectations, going 92 catches for 1,420 yards and 9 touchdowns for Pickens. The trouble here is it's always George Pickens against himself, and whether you want to bet on that or not, Pickens is somebody who I'd like to acquire, honestly, because where can you find a top 10 wide receiver at the price that he'll be? It's just a matter of what the value is of the current owner of Pickens in your leagues, and what they decide to charge you, whether they want to wait and see if he re-signs with the Cowboys, if he goes somewhere else to be another team's number 1. I think that Pickens is best suited staying put. I think the Cowboys could and should franchise tag him because their offense was super explosive with both him and CeeDee, along with Javonte Williams coming through, another free agent going into this offseason. So we'll see what the Cowboys brass decides to do. They've got one extra first rounder this year, another in the following season in the Micah Parsons deal. So it was quite the interesting season for the Cowboys, who once again missed the playoffs. But there could be some things good going forward for the Cowboys. We'll see what Jerry Jones decides to pull off. Can't really trust it with Jerry, though, still at the helm there, being the owner / GM. It's always fun with Jerry. Next up, another free agent this season, Kyle Pitts, finishing tight end number 2 overall here. Monster season for Kyle Pitts. Of course, how can we forget the 50-point performance against my Buccaneers when he had 11 catches for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first week of our fantasy playoffs. Kyle Pitts finally producing numbers that we had hoped for when we took him as a top 5 rookie back in the 2021 rookie drafts. Pitts finally coming through. I don't know if it was just Kirk Cousins. I mean, he had some decent target share games with Michael Penix. So again, another situation in Atlanta where we don't know quite exactly who will be the quarterback next season. Penix with that knee injury, re-injuring a knee that he had surgery on already from college. So it's going to be interesting to see if Penix can make it back and be ready week 1 of the season next year, or if he makes it back midway through, if he starts the season on the PUP list, or if he even plays it all next year. So Kirk Cousins definitely in the discussion there as to whether he'll be the starter week 1 as well. But Kyle Pitts, I think, we don't know if he'll be in Atlanta or not. This would be a huge addition to any team's roster. And with a lot of teams running multiple tight end sets, Kyle Pitts could just go about anywhere, honestly. So it's real hard to speculate right now where he could go. So yeah, very interesting offseason coming up here for Kyle Pitts. Finally, I don't want to forget about Jackson Smith-Njigba, easily the most consistent wide receiver of this year. Didn't quite outscore Puka Nacua, but 113 receptions for 1,709 yards and 10 touchdowns. Just a massive, massive season. And let's see, he's at 289 and Puka is at 289 and a half. So they're literally separated by a half point here. JSN, though, the more consistent option between the two, as you can see here, still sprinkled in some monster games. But this dude, he's at like 45% yardage share, which is easily the most we've seen in like 25 years. So just an absolutely smash season for Jackson Smith-Njigba. JSN with Sam Darnold running the show in Seattle, definitely showing good rapport there. I think Sam Darnold will definitely be back next year. Hard to say whether Darnold will be able to have some success here in this final week against the Niners, where they're looking to capture the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. If they lose, they'll be either the 5 or 6 seed. So interesting things with that performance, how Darnold does, and then how he does it in the playoffs. It's all on Sammy to pull it off here. But that's all I've got for the recap of the 2025 season. Leave your comments down below. I want to thank you all for joining us this year. 2025 was a great season. We had great success. 17 of 25 teams in the semifinals. Let's see, 11 out of 15 big leagues. Then 7 of those in the championship game, winning 4 of those. So a good year for the Birdman. Hopefully you all did well as well. Coming up this off season, we'll do plenty of roster reviews. Check those out. You can subscribe for any subscribers now. Let me know in my Patreon that you want a roster review. Subscribe to the Patreon. I'll give you a free roster review right now. It's just $3 a month. Great time to get involved now. Or you can do it by going to Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. I'll get your roster review done as soon as possible. So we'll get to those. I'll also be doing some shows with Matt on the Dynasty Rewind. So looking forward to that for this off season. Lots of good things coming forward for you. I'm excited for this off season and looking forward to the 2026 rookie draft. As for that, though, that's about all I've got for 2025. Be sure to like and subscribe and look forward to more great stuff from the Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Thank you for watching. And remember, you never stop working.